He just can't help himself. Shedeur Sanders is starting to tell us who he is. Damn, son, grow yourself a pair. You know that I am the one saying free Shedeur. Honest to God, be a professional. He continues to prove why no team wanted him. You know, they say when they tell you who they are, pay attention to them. Well, Shedeur Sanders is starting to tell us who he is, and I'm paying attention. I'm the one that said, free this guy, free him. Let him play. I don't care about Dillon Gabriel. I don't care. Joe Flacco looked old and decrepit and uninterested to me as I watched the Browns the other day. They named Dillon Gabriel the starter, and Shedeur Sanders can't help himself. He just can't help himself. He's a child. And it stinks for him. I could care less. Most of us could care less. Hey, Dan, you going to watch the Browns today? Oh, hell no. What else is on? Wait, reruns of Leave It to Beaver. Mark me down. But damn, Shedeur Sanders is now becoming a meme, a joke, a clown, unprofessional. And maybe, just maybe, this is what teams saw when they interviewed him, and next thing you know, a supposed lottery first or second pick in the NFL draft became a fifth-round pick, and every guy said it was racist, sexist, de-honest, whatever the hell it is, and it's all crap. It's all on the shoulders of this clown. Dakich, what are you talking about? Well, he continues to prove why no team wanted him. He's now the third-string quarterback, still is. Flacco demoted to second string. Gabriel bumped up. And his latest gimmick, and that's all this is, was to talk to the media without actually talking because he says the media gets all his ish wrong. This is utter unprofessional jackassery, and I'm not here for it anymore. Here's Sanders' kid.
Third quarterback. Vocally, anything to say?
I guess yourself and having fun. I guess one more. I guess what do you think you have to show? Show to the coaches just to have them have that belief in you that you can be ready.
What can you say?
How much has Joe been important to both you and Dillon in terms of your guys' development to this point?
Man, y'all might as well.
He looks like an entitled rich pussy. That's what his eyes look like. I mean, if you watch him, he looks like an immature, entitled, rich little pussy. And I'm sorry I say it that way because when we do these when we do these videos, we got to block it out. But I am an eyes guy. I look at eyes, and that's what his eyes tell me. I mean, honest to God, be a professional. You guys don't say my stuff accurately. Well, everything you say is on video, and so I'm going to act like a child. I wouldn't start him. I'd move his ass somewhere active, whatever. I guess you got to have three quarterbacks, but what a ridiculous display. What an unprofessional display. And I'm sure his homies are over there going, yeah, man, you show, blah, blah, that was so cool, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure they did. And I'm sure there's an idiotic company ready to sign this clown because that's what he's become. And it makes me sad because I want him to start. I want interesting in this world. I want free Shedeur. But damn, if you're going to act like a petulant 5-year-old, I can't start you. I just can't. Almost out of principle. Like, I understand most teams would start Charles Manson if they thought they could win a game. Hell, I've said it. Put him at short if the Cubs could win this game tonight. But when you act like a douchebag and your eyes tell me, and I don't give a damn if you all can't read eyes, I can. Tell me that you're an immature, petulant, ridiculous, rich little piece of, not piece, what is the right word? Entitled, what's the other right word? I don't know. Child. That's disgusting. And I want him to start. I've been all week saying, hey, man, I would start him. I'm tired of everything else. I like him. I like his dad. And then his dad loses a game. And now cracks are showing there. His mommy comes out in defense of him. It's all gas. I lift a cheek. Jeez. He's buried on the third string for a reason. They named Dillon Gabriel the starter, And instead of coming out, hey, I'm behind my teammates, I'm going to continue working hard, I'm ready when called, he does a silent mime. Like, I'm not the guy that says anything's a bad look. I don't care about the look. I think about being a child in a locker room full of men. Man, and again, I get it. Everybody, myself included, when I played, I had dudes around me that were all like, hey, Doc, you're getting screwed. You should be playing. I get it. But damn. If you're defending that as his friend, you're not really a friend. You're a hanger-on. If you're defending that as a parent, you're not really a parent. You're a friend to a child. And you should never be. He's got to be sat down and say, son, we're going to be professional. Now, the other thing is, I don't understand why any of these media wonks didn't just say, yeah, F you and walk away. Yeah, I don't understand. Somebody needs to. See, I go back to this. When you've never had your ass kicked, when you've never been punched in the face, and this guy's never been punched in the face. He's been an entitled rich daddy's little child. Never been really punched in the face. It's like those guys yelling at Rory McIlroy. 20-something-year-old, nobody has ever punched him in the face, and next thing you know, they think they're clever when they're really immature and stupid. What a dumb time we're living in right now. It isn't humility. It's arrogance, indifference, childishness, and stupidity. And that's exactly the kind of thing that scares organizations away. That's the exact kind of thing that would go, you know what? You got to be a leader. Did Brady ever do that? No. Did Manning? No. Does Mahomes? No. Does DeMar Jackson? No. I mean, honest to God, if you're sitting there, and believe me, that's just one thing you see publicly. One thing I learned as a longtime coach is one thing you see publicly means there's about 100 things privately that are just as stupid. You just don't happen to see them. You're not going to see anybody call him out. You're not. Because the Stephen A. Smiths of the world and all those folk that you watch all the time, they don't want any heat with Deion. They don't want it. Deion and they are talking and they're doing it private. And that's cool. I'm not. I don't care. I never have. I want a guy who stands up, speaks like an adult, has the great American penis, and isn't a child. Isn't like some petulant little pussy. Man, oh man. All right. Here is Shedeur Sanders and Rex Ryan. Shedeur Sanders' pantomime today was in response to ESPN analyst Rex Ryan criticizing the rookie quarterback. Here is what Rex Ryan said on Monday on Get Up that led to Sanders pantomiming answers today about the quarterback change. And all the little fanboys that don't know their ass from third base, they're all in Sanders' corner. You know he is. You know they are. I mean, because, well, he's the latest cool kid. Shedeur Sanders has been working harder than almost every quarterback in the NFL. Really? Hey, okay. Rookie watch, WATXH, really? On his off days, he never takes a day off, always training. Spends his free time training at Baldwin Wallace, a Division III school. It's 5 minutes. He's always training with Baldwin Wallace players and his own personal coach. Really? So you think Baldwin Wallace players don't have practice, don't have school? They're just everyday training with, okay. All right. Yeah, you think that's right, huh? Here's Sanders practicing at a Division III school, according to this guy. Great. All right. Dylan Gabriel waited on the perfect time. Now they're telling me online that Dylan Gabriel is throwing shade at Sanders. When asked about being named the starting quarterback for the Browns, here it is. Let's hear.
You know, I think it's funny because, you know, I got a text from a good buddy of mine, and he sent me a picture of a fire station, you know, and like, kind of like, why are you sending that, you know? But when he sends it, you know, he just lists the obvious, right? Like, doors are open, garage doors are open, like, things are ready to go, and like, they're just waiting on that phone call to like respond surgically. And like, just what a great representation of like the job I had and being ready for that moment. And I think, you know, I smile because it's like a moment you prep for and you are extremely excited for, but also got to realize that it's extreme focus. and that's what I've continued to harp on. But you wait for the perfect time, you're going to wait a whole lifetime. So for me, I've always been ready for every moment.
Yeah, I'm told the dig stems from Gabriel's quote right there. You wait for the perfect time, you're going to be waiting your whole life. Apparently, it's a direct shot. Morons on the internet say at Sanders. Sanders has a rap song called Perfect Timing. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I don't think that's a dig at all. I hope Dillon Gabriel becomes a great NFL coach. I hope quarterback. I hope Shedeur Sanders grows up and becomes a great NFL quarterback. I mean, there's no likelihood that both of those things happen given that they're both in Cleveland. But that's my hope. I do. I'm rooting for Shedeur Sanders. Seems like a nice kid. He's an entitled little biatch, but hey, that's all right. I mean, think about how he was raised. I mean, think about the nonsense. Deion Sanders and all that God stuff, everybody knows that's crap. We all know that. And he learned from it. And he went 13-12. Doesn't really know what real success is. I mean, real success. But you know what? I hope he gets successful. I hope Dillon Gabriel balls out. I'd like to see Cleveland be good. When I was in Bowling Green, we had to watch. The AFC team was Cleveland and the NFC team was Detroit. That's what we got on Sundays. So I became a fan. My buddy Kevin Custer had season tickets. I went to a game against Mike Vick. I became a fan. People were great. So I want Cleveland to be good, and to be good, one of these two quarterbacks is going to have to be good. I hope they both are. But damn, son, grow yourself a pair. I mean, get yourself the great American penis, will you, Shedeur? Rise from the ashes of your own stupidity and childishness and try to become an adult. Hey, I want to tell you how much we appreciate you all watching our show. I'm checking it every day. We're getting close to 3,000 subscriptions on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/@don'tatme with Dan Dakich, all one word. You're going to see it there right now. So go ahead and subscribe so you can like, comment, call me a bald whatever. Doesn't matter to me. That way you'll never miss any of our great content. And every day, I'm not going to lie to you, I watch content from all different shows. Ours is pretty good. It is. I mean, I'm handsome, number one, and I'm unafraid, number two. What more do you need? And I'm pretty well-versed, pretty smart. Anyway, enough about me. Never enough about me. All right, according to reports, embattled WNBA commish Cathy Engelbert is likely to leave the WNBA after the contract negotiations, the collective bargaining agreement between the players' union or whatever they call themselves and the league gets done. Tom Friend of the Sports Business Journal reports that the commissioner's potential exit would come as a result of pressure from within the WNBA. And never forget, the NBA controls the purse strings. So the NBA is involved in this as well. The report describes the presumed departure as relationship-driven, noting the way she has dealt with colleagues and players amid unprecedented growth. So let me see if I understand this right. Caitlin Clark, no question, grew the league. But the league was growing, and this lady navigated new teams coming in and all of this. A little girl named Collier gets on there and rips the referees, all that kind of stuff, when, of course, she never said a word when the little white girl, Caitlin Clark, was getting her ass beat. Collier was silent. However, people are actually taking seriously, a 20-something-year-old little girl, her memory of a conversation with Cathy Engelbert that a woman she dislikes and apparently doesn't respect, people are actually taking that conversation and that woman, Collier, remembering that conversation as verbatim. Now, people are couching it by saying, if it's true. Well, if you go out there and you say, if it's true, then Cathy Engelbert should be fired. What about the converse? What about the other way? If it's not true, then what should happen to Napanese or whatever the hell her name is? Collier. You tell me. I mean, if you get up there in your, quote, exit interview and you lie to the masses, what does that say about you? I would bet money the truth is somewhere in the middle. I would bet money maybe the commissioner said those words with a laugh, with a smile. Who knows? We don't know context. We just know that in this day and age, a little African-American woman speaks, and we're all supposed to listen. Look, I don't give a damn. If Collier's 25, then maybe her brain is fully formed. By the way, happy birthday to my stepdaughter today, Tegan. She turned 25, and my wife said her brain is fully formed. That's my wife. If she's not, I don't care about Collier, but then it's not. So maybe she's making stuff up. Either way, you ever play that telephone game where one person tells a secret, and by the time you get to the third or fourth person, it's all discombobulated? That's what I'm seeing here. I am not buying any of this. And the fact that the commissioner hasn't connected with the players, maybe that's a player thing. But I will tell you this. These big old tall, and this is such a stereotype because we have one in here, Kelly Kasparov here, they just have no personality. So I understand what it may seem like, but damn, we're going to take the word of some 20-something-year-old little girl who's mad because her team got their ass beat, who's mad because her coach got kicked out, and the coach, the big sexy Cheryl Reeves, acted like a complete dumbass after the game. But we're going to take her word for it. Okay. She hasn't connected. She's not a relationship builder, which you have to be in that job with the teams, with the players. Really? So Tom Friend, I'm sure, with the, this is an anonymous WNBA executive. Okay. So people are doing exactly what you should not do in an operation. First off, media is believing this stupidity. Second off, a anonymous WNBA executive, assuming this is accurate, assuming this isn't a lie, we've all seen so many lies out of the media, is talking out of school, and everybody's believing a 20-something little girl that can't climb steps. Yeah, she got a torn ACL. So do I. She hasn't connected. She's not a relationship builder, which you have to be in the job with the teams, with the players. I think she's a wicked smart business person. So look for somebody in your organization, Kathy. That's from Boston. They use that idiotic wicked. And the success she gets a lot of credit for, but a commissioner has to have a personality element that can touch every constituent that they have. I think she's just lacking in it. Now, it wasn't David Stern. David Stern would call up a player and say, look, dumbass, you look like a clown. Quit looking like a clown on my bench. David Stern ruled with an iron fist. I get it. The women of the WNBA are so soft, so entitled, so insecure that nobody short of an ass-kissing monk could rule that crew. But the truth of the matter is there's nobody could satisfy those clowns of women. There's nobody. Stephen A. Smith, never one to be left out, blasted Kathy's Engelbert statement in a rebuttal to Collier and called for her immediate resignation. I'd extend her. I would. If I was the NBA and WNBA, wait a second, Stephen A. Smith, who doesn't know jack shit about this, has no idea about this. He's calling for a resignation. I'd be like, hey, Board of Governors meeting, let's extend Kathy Engelbert. That's what I'd do. Look, these owners don't care about this sport anyway. Do what you want. Here's Smith.
I want to see her. Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the league. Doggy, Peter, Monica, let me say for the record, you should resign. You need to resign. Period. The reason I say that, Doggy, is because when a player, any player, but especially one of that magnitude, attacks you publicly like that, that weak-ass statement Commissioner Engelbert gave is not good enough. And I'm going to say it. It was a weak-ass statement. Could you imagine somebody directing comments and criticisms at you, taking conversations they've had with you directly and telling the world what you said? And did you see that statement Commissioner Engelbert gave? She basically provided no defense of herself. I don't have the statement right directly in front of me, y'all.
Mischaracterization.
A mischaracterization.
She was disheartened.
I'm disheartened at the mischaracterization. What? That was I'm not saying Nafisha Collar personally attacked her, like personally. I'm not trying to personalize it like that, but I'm just saying her words were piercing. That was an attack against your leadership. It was an attack against your integrity. It was an attack against your character.
Yeah, he's full of shit. I mean, were Kathy Engelbert black, he would be talking about how she stayed above the fray. Yeah, it was an attack against your character, but Stephen A. Smith's never been in a leadership role in anything. Nothing. When you're in a leadership role and some little girl comes at you or some little boy comes at you, you stay above the fray. You all don't understand that, I'm sure. People don't understand that. But that's what you do. Okay, you attacked my character, big deal. So what? It's a little girl. It's a little girl that just got her ass beat. She attacked your character. No, she didn't. She gave a conversation that we had. There's nothing about her character. You said you're bad leadership. That's not her character. That's her business style. There's nothing about her character. If the girl was black, Stephen A. Smith would be praising her. Monica McNutt, whoever that is, would be praising her for how she handled it. But she's a middle-aged white lady. And we got to make stuff up. And now she has to resign. I am never, ever, ever resigning because some little girl that just got beat in a damn basketball game is whining about the officiating. I am never resigning because some little girl player is whining about how I've handled the league, where we have grown this league substantially. I'm not resigning because some little girl doesn't have any type of integrity about her and spins conversations that I had with this little girl to prove her own point, which is about the average for today's society and little girls in their 20, little boys in their 20. There is not a chance in hell if I'm Kathy Engelbert. Now, she's going to because she's not very smart, apparently. But there isn't a chance in hell. Only chance would be if I had a severance coming, if I resigned for a few mil. Then on the way out, I'd go scorch earth. But other than that, there is no chance. Why? Napa-Nisa Collier is mad at me? Oh, my God, not Napa-Nisa Collier, whatever the hell that is. She got her ass beat. Her coach went nuts. I didn't see Cheryl Reeves or Napa-Nisa Collier talking ever about protecting players when Caitlin Clark was getting knocked on her ass by Kennedy Carter. Who names these people? Or by Dejanay Carrington, poked in the eye. I didn't see any of it. None of it. But all of a sudden, they lose in a game, they lose a series, and now everybody's at fault. Isn't that typical? Isn't that typical? Nah, Stephen A., you know this, man. If that woman was African American, if that woman was Monica McNutt, you wouldn't be saying none of this. Not even close. Not even sort of. You're full of shit on this. And you do it so dramatically, it's cute. Like your words have meaning. Hey, man, what did that clown say? Who? Stephen A. Smith. You should be resigning. Wait. He did what now? What does he know about it? So he takes Napa-Nisa. Okay. Hey, let's get a meeting together. Kathy, you're extended. Keep doing your thing. I'm sure the little girls will protest somehow, some way. We're not going to play it. Good. Let's get some other players in. Who wants to play? You stand up to these jackasses. You don't cower to these Napa-Nisa Colliers. You stand up. Now, if you're 100% in the wrong, maybe you explain it. But it doesn't look like it. You're the commissioner that expanded the league, got private planes. You're the commissioner that moved things into bigger arenas, but that was all Caitlin Clark. You're right, it was, but I was the commish. How do you think David Stern got to such power? People act like it was David Stern. Are you nuts? It was Michael freaking Jordan. What's wrong with you? Come on. People act like David Stern. Hey, how's the NBA going in terms of public perception now? Horsebleed. Why? I don't know. There's no likable stars. Isn't because Adam Silver is the most woke, ridiculous, big-eared commissioner in the history of commissioners. It's because there's no stars that are likable. Simple. Yeah, don't give me that crap that it's all about Caitlin Clark. Sure, it is, but she's the commish, just like Stern was the commish during the Jordan years. I got 2 words for you. Stop it, stupid. Just stop it. Congressman Tim Burchett took a break from crushing liberals on CNN and other airways to address the real question of who made the bigger mistake. Kamala Harris picking Tim Walz as her VP, or Nico Iamaleava forcing his way out of Tennessee to end up at UCLA. It's a good question. Both are monumental mistakes. I'm going to throw my 2 cents is only Middle Tennessee cares about Nico. The whole country got to see Tim Walz act like a little douchebag. Hi, Tim. Here's the answer from the congressman.
Nico to UCLA, that choice, or Kamala Harris picking Tim Walz as her vice president? Who made the worst decision?
I'm going to say Kamala. She was a train wreck anyway, and she just picked a bigger train wreck. I like JD. He's strong, and he's kind of a buddy of mine, I guess, but they call him Tampon Tim or something. I don't even like saying it, but he is just he's a knucklehead, man. He just can't get out of his own way. I don't know who he was running against to get elected governor out there, but dadgum. Must have been a convicted felon getting ready to go to the electric chair or something. I'm not sure who the Republicans put up against him. But, yeah, Nico, I mean, he just took some bad advice, but he'll get a little bit of a paycheck, and if he can just get all his groupies and family away from him, he might be okay. He might be able to salvage something in the Canadian Football League. But, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, hey, I'm not big on criticizing the kid. The dad's the pain in the ass here. I mean, seriously. Football is important. Man, I can't. Well, here's the deal. I really used to like the UCLA-USC game because the colors were so bright and the game showed up so well on TV. Now I like it because I want to see UCLA get crushed. I've had enough of UCLA. One of the things I learned doing the UCLA-Michigan game, it was a monumental college basketball game. We all went, myself, my wife, we went out to L.A. to do the game. All these liberals, you know what I noticed right there, Bel Air, right there, Westwood? They all got walls around their house. They hate walls, but they got walls around their houses. I did notice that. This is, I don't know, 18, 17, 16. I don't know when it was. But I'm like, my buddy, my producer, well, that's different. I'm like, yeah, okay, he's a flaming liberal. Like, okay, yeah, it's different. No, it's not. Anyway, I don't know. It's really funny to me. But, hey, I like UCLA getting crushed. I don't really care about that Nico guy, but Tim Walz, man. Tim Walz is trying so hard. I want to be a big boy. They often say there's a reason smart people generally do not want to get involved in politics. As soon as you contemplate entering the race, everyone and their mother has something to say about you. Boy, is that true. Good work here, Davey and Nick. Man, that's philosophically very smart. Very nice, you two. I don't know who wrote it, but whoever did, brilliant. And there are some notable names in college football coming up after Paul Finebaum. They're coming after Paul Finebaum since he stated on OutKick he's potentially running for Senate. See, I look at it another way. I want to see Paul Finebaum's phone log after he did that interview with Clay. Jimmy Patero. I don't know who's ahead of college football. I don't know who's ahead of the SEC network. But it'd be some funny stuff to see and hear the conversations. It'd be really funny. Guys are coming after him. All right, that's fine. During his weekly appearance on McCready and the Siskey Show, A.J. McCarron was told the news about Finebaum's potential run for Senate. And he didn't sugarcoat his opinion. How about this? This is A.J. McCarron talking about Finebaum.
Hey, what is the Finebaum thing? I've seen a couple people.
There are reports that he's contemplating a run for the United States Senate.
Care to comment?
Whoever votes for his dumbasses needs to be revoked from voting.
Really? That's it? That's what? Come on. I mean, why? So I get, interestingly enough, this could be the start of a legitimate political rivalry. McCarran, who lives in Mobile, is reportedly considered a potential run for lieutenant governor or U.S. Senate. Recent poll asked respondents whether they would vote for McCarran for either of those offices, and as for their potential path to public office, Tommy Tuberville, one of Alabama's senators, running for governor. Therefore, his seat is likely to be open for someone to take. Let's show A.J. McCarran's tattoo, will you? I'm not sure that I can vote for anybody that thinks that's a great move. I'm not. I am not. Good for you. I don't know what all that is. Yay, rah. Go fight, win. But A.J. McCarran, best known for having the hot girlfriend, whatever her name was. And Brett Musburger calling it out like every guy in the country was at the time, and then Musburger caught some hell. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I ain't voting for that guy. Todd Mache came with receipts against his former colleague, and he seemingly has a few more in the bank. Oh, McShay, he ain't liking old Paul Finebaum. McShay ripped Finebaum for his continuous criticism of Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer following the Crimson Tide's 24-21 upset victory over Georgia last weekend. Finebaum was one of the loudest voices among the media who has chastised DeBoer since struggling through his first season plus, replacing the legendary Nick Saban. After DeBoer's biggest win, McShay took the opportunity to back up DeBoer while ripping his former colleague and begging the question, how about now? How about now? And listen to this one. McShay, we got beef, people. McShay calling Finebaum an all-time coward. What? Let's hear it.
It's really good to see this. I'm not polling for either side, but it's really good to see this for DeBoer because it feels like if Alabama had lost this game after losing to Florida State, and Florida State just lost to Virginia, and all like that place is vicious. Watch that trash Paul Finebaum to see how vicious and like just it's just not good. It's just not good humanity.
Right.
Okay. Get my little shot in it, Paul. One of the all-time cowards. Is it October 1st yet? Let's see. 27th. About to be the
next
28th.
week. Next week.
Yeah, next week I can let it all unleash. We'll explain it all why later.
The McShay show is rolling, and I'm all in on it. Man, I got some earwax today. The McShay show is absolutely rock and roll and shaking and baking, and I'm here for it. I'm down to clown because these guys worked with Finebaum. See, I was on Finebaum's show, and I always liked him. I always figured, you know what? Whatever. I've never paid that much attention to him, but McShay worked with him. McCarran, I don't know. Maybe McCarran's just salty about something else. Speaking of salty, speaking of ridiculous, golf guy, Paul Azinger, the old smooth golf guy. There's just a coolness, not even a coolness, a smoothness, a smugness about guys like Azinger. I know Payne Stewart is considered the greatest, but I ran into him once, and okay, all right. Paul Azinger is accusing Rory McIlroy of being a hypocrite. I don't know if I addressed this on here. He's a hypocrite according to Azinger because, he made McIlroy comments about the United States fans' behavior while telling some of the United States fans to F off. Here's America's golf guy, Azinger.
Over there. I give Rory credit for that. Now I want to take a shot at Rory, who I love. Rory probably turned down $500 million not to go to live. And he's a European, and we see how much he wants to beat our tour. But he stayed here, and he he fought for us. He fought for the PGA Tour, so I love him for that. But today in the press conference, after it's over, he's saying, I think golf should be held to a higher standard of decorum. Isn't that what he said? But in the meantime, he says, F you, F you, F you in full voice for the world to see. He turns around and says to the guy, shut the F up. The guy in the media asked him today, how did that feel, Rory, to tell the guy to shut the F up and then hit it 2 feet? And he said, it felt pretty effing good. And I'm like, but which is it, Rory? Is it that golf is held to a higher standard? Or are you just going to F you, the fans, and act like that's okay? So I love Rory. You know that. But you can't say that. You can't say the fans need to behave better, and then in the meantime, lay them to waste.
Can't be on both sides.
You can't do both. You can't do both. You got to be one or the other. You can't do both.
Yeah.
Well, sure you can, and Rory McIlroy did. And because golf guy Slim Pickens there doesn't agree with it, who cares? Look, you can only take so much crap. I'm sorry. You can. You can only take so much. Somebody calling you a homophobic slur, someone throwing drinks on your wife, someone everywhere you go, F you. No, you can only take so much. Here's McIlroy talking about this issue. Here's McIlroy discussing, well, how satisfying it was to tell these guys to shut the F up.
With all that in mind, everything you go through, how satisfying is it to turn around to someone and say, quote, shut the F up, and then stiff it to 2 feet?
Very fucking satisfying.
Congratulations.
It wasn't stiff. It wasn't stiff. I had to put it.
There you go. It wasn't stiff. I had to putt it. But, you know, McIlroy, throw a drink, as my guy Aaron said. Throw a freaking drink on your wife. See how you react. Everywhere you go, get told to F off. You can only take so much. You know, adult men with the great American penis, maybe golf guys aren't that tough. I think they are. I've always said golf guys are the last of the cowboys. They play for their food. You know, you got to make that putt or you don't make the cut and you don't get any money. I mean, that's tough. But guys like Azinger, when they get to a certain point in life, just give me gas. Hey, I did like, this is a side note before we go and get Mike MAYOCK. I said this actually Sunday, they should go get an actual baseball, basketball, football manager to manage the Ryder Cup team. Because these dudes that come off the tour, whether they're older like Mickelson or younger like Keegan Bradley, they're not elite men. It's an individual sport your entire life. From the time you're 8, 6, 5, you're playing for your score. Maybe you get in high school and others, but still, you can be the medalist and move to the state tournament. In high school, you can drop 30 in a sectional in Indiana. If your team loses, you're not advancing because you dropped 30. I'm just saying. It's good stuff, though. Really good stuff. Hey, when we come back, Mike MAYOCK joins. Make Mike MAYOCK the head, the captain of the USA team. Growing up in Gary, Indiana, about an hour from Notre Dame and going to Catholic school, I got tired of the nuns. I got tired of Notre Dame. Lindsey Nelson on Sunday mornings was pretty good. And I'm being totally honest about this. I'm not just kissing his ass. Mike MAYOCK was doing games on NBC, and I'm like, hang on, caller. I'm kind of digging this. I am. You made a Catholic guy that the nuns called Digger Phelps, bitching that Digger never recruited Indiana kids. They're like, why are you going to Indiana, Mr. Dakich? You should be going to Notre Dame. I said, I don't know. Indiana's pretty good, national champs. And you made me like Notre Dame. So there you go. Thank you for that. I don't think I told you last time you were on. There you go.
Well, I didn't want to like Notre Dame. As you can see, I'm a BC guy, right. And Notre Dame didn't recruit me, so I got there a little salty the first year. And I got to be honest with you. I'll tell you what's really cool, Dan, is the first game I did there, I think, was Purdue, and Purdue comes to town, and I'm there like 4 days. I want to be ready to go for the first game I'm doing. And I was so tired by Friday afternoon, all the production meetings, and like I was grinding. I went for a run around campus, and I ended up at the top of Notre Dame Stadium, running the stairs. And I heard the Notre Dame fight song. And I'm looking out over the top of Notre Dame Stadium down on the campus, and here come the students and that iconic fight song. And I'm like, how can I dislike this? Yeah. Right? That's what it's supposed to be all about. So, so I'm a fan now, I guess, until we play them on November 1st, and I hope we kick their ass.
Yeah, that's right. But you made me because you were so honest in the booth, and I'm like, all right, it's a Notre Dame broadcast. Everybody's going to kiss their ass, just like the nuns, just like the priests. No. And then along came Mike MAYOCK giving me the truth, and I was digging it. I am. I was. All right. Is Shedeur Sanders and all these little antics, is he kind of proving that, teams – didn't need his bullshit, or is this just, I don't worry about it. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of some of the passive aggressive stuff and the miming. I forget who was the guy he said he was responding to. I forget who it was. Do you remember?
Oh, Tony Grossi, or no, it was Rex Ryan. It was Rex Ryan.
That's who
he
it
was responding to on
and,
ESPN. That's right. Yeah,
for the reality is, by responding to Rex in that fashion, all it does is give Rex another platform to get after the kid. I mean, at the end of the day, I do believe what Rex said, and I'm the son of a coach, and I'm just kind of like, listen, right now you're third team. Whether you like it, agree with it or not, that's where you are. And the way you get to first team is you outwork everybody and you earn it. And some of the antics that go along with it, all it does is make it a bigger pain in the butt for Kevin Stefanski to deal with. And the kid's a pretty good football player. I just wish he would concentrate on becoming a better one.
Do you think, here's what I said when I broadcast Big Ten games. Guys, I played in the Big Ten, coached in the Big Ten, came up with all the coaches, all that kind of stuff. So they would tell me things. You think what Rex said was based on fact, or do you think Rex was being Rex?
I know Rex pretty well, and part of that is Rex being Rex because, one of the reasons he survives at ESPN is because he's out there a little bit, and he's not afraid to stir the pot, and he's always looking for some controversial things to drop in there. Which is fine. That's Rex. But I do believe that he's got a lot of sources in the NFL. A lot of people talk to him. So I'm sure some of it is based on opinions from some people in the league.
In basketball, college basketball, a guy gets hurt, suspended, whatever. His first game back is always really good. It's something Coach Knight and I talked about 30 years ago. So here comes Jackson Dart, game 1. What is your thought? You evaluate it different. You've been a general manager, mechanics, footwork, all that kind of stuff. What is your thought on Jackson Dart? Is he the guy that can be finally somebody that gets the Giants where they need to be?
I had the identical grade on Jackson Dart that I had on Bo Nix. And neither one of them were first-round grades on my scale. Because you're kind of, as a scout, you're grading on some things like physical athletic traits, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought they were second-round guys, right? However, like Sean Payton is a Bill Parcells guy. And Sean Payton, I believe, knows how to get the most out of his quarterback. And what Bo Nix did well is a fit. And I think fit's a word we don't talk enough about in any sport. But I think Bo Nix was a fit for Sean Payton. Why? They're going to run the ball. They're going to play really good defense. They're going to play action. They want the kid to be a leader, smart, tough, accountable, all those good things. To me, that's kind of what Jackson Dart is. If you take advantage of if you play some good defense, which the Giants can do, if you can run the ball, which I hope they can do with that dude Scadaboo, the other rookie, the 4th round pick. If you can run the ball a little bit, protect the kid, he's athletic enough with his legs. I think he ran it 10 or 12 times. He was 13 for 20 for 115, 120 yards. So the numbers weren't big, Dan, but his fit in that offense was good. And so I think that's the challenge for Brian Daboll and his staff. When they went to the playoffs 2 years ago with Daniel Jones, I did their wild card game in Minnesota where they upset Minnesota. Daniel Jones played really well. Saquon Barkley played well. They played good defense. They ran the football. They took advantage of Daniel Jones's legs. And so I think they have to kind of get back to that and play to what the kid does well, which is a long way of saying that I think he can be a fit. They're going to be, look, he took 5 sacks. They're not going to win a lot of games. But if he gets a little better each week, next year they'll have a better quarterback ready to compete.
Hey, speaking of Bo Nix, I for about 6-7 years, I sat behind about 5 rows, had literally the best seats in the house. A buddy of mine had him. I bought him from him for Colts games, and I always paid attention to leadership. I always paid attention to the sidelines. Like Calais Campbell, to me, was one of the greatest leaders I ever saw on a sideline. Jalen Ramsey was a complete douchebag, even as a young kid. I'm watching Bo Nix the other day. I'm sitting there, and I'm watching Bo Nix and how he's interacting and how he prepared when he came. It was really impressive, Mike. I go back. My wife's a coach too, and we would watch this, and we're like, God dang, this Bo Nix. You mentioned fit. He's connected to what the hell is going on with everybody on that offensive side and his coach, Mike. It was phenomenal.
And that's kind of what I mean by fit. That's what Sean wants. That's what Drew Brees was, right? That's a fit. And to me, leadership doesn't just happen on game day. Game day's fun. Leadership has to happen when nobody else wants to really compete on Wednesday at practice, when people are falling asleep in films on Friday morning. Leadership's everywhere. And that's what you want, and that's what you need out of your quarterback.
All right. You mentioned Daniel Jones. Indiana is the epicenter of all things football. The Hoosiers are the best team in the history of college football. Daniel Jones, speaking of fit, let's talk about Daniel Jones. What do you see in terms of fit with Steichen and what's going on here in Indy?
Look, as of a week ago, and I didn't update the stats after last week, but as of a week ago, they were running the ball 52% of the time, okay? Last year, only 2 teams ran the ball more than 50% of the time. They were the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens. Okay? So, to me, again, fit, if you can play solid defense, and I think Lou Anarumo is doing a nice job on the defensive side of the ball, especially when they don't have any corners. I mean, they're struggling at the corner position, but they're playing solid defense. They're running the football. They're taking advantage of an offensive line that competes, and they're only asking Daniel Jones to do what he can do. Hit the open receivers, make the right reads, get the ball where it belongs, and occasionally you can scramble, and we're going to call an occasional quarterback run to take advantage of your legs. So I think, Dan, to me, that's good coaching, and I think that would appeal to you.
Oh, it's perfect. You know how it goes. I got guys, our team, they're in New York, and they're like, yeah, Dakich, wait till game 6. You'll hate Daniel Jones. Wait till game 1. I'm like, wait a second here. Maybe, just maybe, this is a good fit. You and I were talking off air. Is there any look, you win a Super Bowl, you're a great team. I don't know. You go to a couple Super Bowls, win one. What the hell? Is this just a Philly thing that everybody's got to bitch about the Eagles? Is that what this is?
Oh, man. I think they're 19-1 in their last 20 games. And they're all Philly's a tough town. I grew up in West Philadelphia. Philly's a tough town. And I love the Philly fans. However, most of them break their ankles jumping on and off bandwagons. And the local media, the local radio shows do a great job of instigating that. So it's Philly's a pro town. It's not a college town. And it's, the Philadelphia Phillies open up this weekend in the divisional round of the playoffs, and that's a big deal. But nothing supersedes the Eagles. So there's two undefeated teams in the league, and one of them's taking a lot of heat from their fans. They're killing the offensive coordinator. They're killing the quarterback. I watch every one of their game tapes, and you know it as a coach. I mean, it's a 17-game regular season. It's a process to get a little bit better every day and every week. Teams are coming after them a little differently than last year. They're shutting down Barkley, and the pass attack isn't what it needs to be. But man, they're undefeated. We just need to give them some time, give them a break, let them get into it. So I'm a big fan of Howie Roseman, their GM, and I think Nick Sirianni's done a hell of a job.
I always said, and when you have this, it's unique. When you have a team that internally knows they're not going to lose. Now, they're going to lose. The 72's the latest undefeated seed. Okay, but they're not going away. I'm watching on Sunday, and here comes Baker Mayfield, but I don't know why this hit me, Mike. Through a TV, I'm watching, and I told the people I was watching with that are Philly fans, they just know they're going to win. They just know somebody's going to do something, and that's the best thing you can have as a coach, GM, captain, whatever, Mike. That's awesome, and they've got it.
Yeah, first of all, I think they have the most talented roster in the league for about the third or fourth year in a row, and that's Howie Roseman. So when you have a lot of talent, it's really good. Now, they had a hiccup. Now, 3 years ago, they go to the Super Bowl and lose to Kansas City. 2 years ago, they're 10-2, and then went bang. And they were awful at the end of the year. Tampa Bay beats them in the wild card. They end up letting both their coordinators go. They bring in Saquon Barkley, who on the field and in the locker room was outstanding for them. But they also brought in a guy named an old kind of crotchety guy like you and me, named Vic Fangio, their defensive coordinator. Okay. Yeah. And Vic came in on defense and some stuff changed, brother. I mean, like people always think, like Miami, he was in Miami the year before and their players basically fired him because in my opinion, they probably didn't want to work. They didn't like the discipline. They kind of got Vic Fangio out of town. And he comes in and all he does is win a Super Bowl, and every guy on that team loves him. Why? Because he shoots them straight, and players know when a coach can help them win. Vic Fangio is a big deal, and that's another reason they believe in winning every week.
It's fascinating. I don't know nothing about Philadelphia, but I know that guy Johnson with the A-gap blitzes, and I know Vic Fangio, and it's like, how do I know this? Wait, and I don't even pay attention, but people give them great credit. They do. What should be as the Raiders general manager, what should be done with the tush push? Not as an Eagles guy living in Philly, but as a general manager of another team. What should be done with the tush push?
So I have mixed emotions here because on one hand, the genesis of that rule was 20 some years ago for completely different reasons about being allowed to push a player. It was for, and to the Eagles' credit, they've taken advantage of kind of a loophole in the rules. And I give the Eagles a ton of credit. And A, you got to know the rule book, and B, your players have to execute. So I love that. Okay. I don't love that I think they're going to get rid of the rule because the rest of the league doesn't want to deal with it. That bothers me. I'm a little bit of a contrarian. I'm like, if you don't want the tush pushed, then friggin' stop it. Okay, stop it during the game, not by legislation. So that's a big part of me. My back gets up. However, I don't really like the play because I don't understand why you can push a runner, but you can't pull them. And I don't really get the sense that the rule book makes. But the big picture, Dan, is I think they're going to find a way to get rid of it this year after the season. And I think they're going to do it for all the wrong reasons. And that bothers me.
Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? It feels like it's like a snowball. It started a little bit. And now you said it perfectly. I totally agree. I always thought you couldn't push a guy. I thought that forever, and then all of a sudden you can, and all of a sudden they're using it, but you can't pull a guy. What the hell?
You know what the reason for the rule is? The reason for the rule is 20-some years ago, they got tired of offensive linemen chasing plays down the field and picking off defensive like 10, 15, 20 yards down the field. They're coached to go chase the play and then picking off defensive players with big hits as the ball carrier is going. And they said, hey, no more of that. You can push the runner, but you can't pick guys off with your helmet. So they did it kind of as a play. And so that was the first time you were allowed to push a runner. But it was done down the field. They never, in their mind, the unintended consequences were the Eagles were going to go, hey, we got a quarterback that squats the house. Maybe we'll push him from behind and see what happens.
I didn't know that about that. I remember that, though. I remember linemen running down and knocking the absolute dog out of guys around the pond. I remember. I didn't realize that was the rule. Mike, I love talking to you, man. Thanks for your time. Love it. Go BC. Beat the shit out of the Irish. Screw the Irish. Hell with the Irish.
Thanks for having me on, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thank you. There he goes, the great Mike MAYOCK. I love talking to Mike. I do. I wish we had him on like every day because he's so good. You know, I didn't know that rule, but I do remember it happening. All right, we're going to go to Cleveland. Anthony Lima, our friend in Cleveland. What's going on? It's the epicenter. We got a big game tonight with the Guardians. We got Shedeur Sanders. You kidding me? Let's go. We'll be right back.
Football's finally
prostate cancer, and he goes to the Guardians games. And I just text him. I said, hey, man, did you wear your adult diaper because the lines are too long? That's where we're at here in Cleveland. Cleveland's the epicenter of all things. Are you wearing a diaper to Guardians games? Game 3 tonight. Shedeur Sanders is miming reporters. Our guy, Anthony Lima, joining us, and I won $20 because I told him, Anthony, what your last name was. They just don't remember. I'm a big-time listener. Hey, appreciate you, my friend. You can listen to Anthony Cleveland 92.3, The Fan, and follow him at Sportsboy Tony. Gabriel taking over, Shedeur miming. What's going on here inside the Browns?
It's the most fun you could possibly have with a 1-3 football team that was picked to win, 4.5 games this year by Vegas. I'm watching the networks today while we're doing the radio show. And, we have Guardians playoff game, right? We have the Browns making the big quarterback change. And yet I look at the national networks and I'm like, wow, we're not talking about the same thing they're talking about. They're talking about Shedeur Sanders for literally every other segment all morning we put on Fox on their Mulligan show or Best Ball or Mulligan Stew or whatever it is. And they're talking about Shedeur Sanders the entire time. And I'm like, are we doing the wrong thing here? Because our fans want to talk about Dillon Gabriel and whether or not, he has a shot to actually look good behind a shaky offensive line against a Brian Flores defense. And so what did we end up doing? Because I got a boss. I got to listen to him. We're putting our stuff on YouTube. We need the clicks. We end up having the guy on that had the video that has 14 million views with Shedeur Sanders in the locker room, and then we're playing Adam Schefter talking about his video. So we're just as culpable. What's wrong with us, Dakich? When we used to talk sports, we used to be a proper country.
All I can say is, and this has become my motto, we're living in strange times, Anthony. That's all I got. We're just living in strange times. Men are women, women are men, boys are playing with girls. Shedeur Sanders miming. What are we doing? I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Dakich, you're 6'5". You're a towering figure. You live in a great community. Your home's getting invaded. You're the Jordan stopper. That stuff's not supposed to happen in this country. Come on.
You didn't watch the video. Somebody put a Purdue flag in my backyard. That's home invasion to me. That's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What do you think
Gene
of Dylan
Katie.
Gabriel?
I knew he was up to something.
Yeah. Let's talk football. What do you think of Dylan Gabriel? And why is Shedeur Sanders, still third team when people say he's got talent? I don't know. What's going on here inside the building football-wise?
I could tell you that when Rex Ryan started spouting off about if he knows it, everybody knows it, it's because the Browns are leaking it. And what are the Browns leaking? They're leaking the reason that he is not on the depth chart ready to play football. So, listen, I like the kid. I think he's funny. I think we take sports too seriously sometimes, but I also know guys in the locker room take sports very seriously, and they do not love the Shedeur Sanders experience. And Dylan Gabriel is the guy they wanted because they drafted him in the third round. They probably overdrafted him. He's like 5'10", I don't know, on stilts. He might be 5'9", and yet they really like him. They think he does study the playbook. They think he can run that Minnesota / now Kevin Stefanski offense that Kirk Cousins was successful in. They think he can do that. So they've really liked him. I didn't like him, I'll be honest. I didn't understand that draft pick, nor did I understand taking Shedeur Sanders, 2 rounds later and then having a 4-way quarterback controversy, one for the starting role, one for the backup that Kenny Pickett was involved with before they traded him. None of that made sense to me. They split all these reps, and now they're like, hey, behind one of the worst offensive lines in football through 4 weeks, good luck, Dylan Gabriel. Hope you studied up and hope you can see over the line.
I watched the other day. I'm actually a Cleveland fan being in Bowling Green. We got Cleveland and we got Detroit when Detroit was the worst team in the history of football. So I became a Cleveland fan, went to games with a buddy of mine. So I'm rooting for this. I thought Flacco looked terrible. I thought he looked uninterested. I thought he looked old, and I thought he looked sloppy, not the Flacco of a couple years ago there. So are people cool with the decision to say, okay, Flacco, you're out, and whoever comes in, let's go?
Yeah, fans are cool with it, but Dan, you know how this works all over NFL, college, hell, high school, delusional parents. It's the offense sucks. Let's go to the backup. It can't get worse. I have news for everybody. Right. And I have news for everybody. And you've been coaching long enough. You have news for those parents when you're in their living room. Like, it can get worse, and it most likely will get worse. Like Browns, I will say Flacco was pressured the most in the NFL last week because they had a revolving door at left and right tackle. They're hoping to have Conklin back for the first time this year, which would be at right tackle, which would protect the lefties' blind side. That would be very helpful. They traded for another tackle in Cam Robinson, who's been a disaster, where he's been the last few years. But anything is an improvement there. I can tell you that I've seen so many rookie quarterbacks come in and just look horrendous, especially Brian Flores is the defensive coordinator for the Vikings with his exotic blitz schemes. And, I'm thinking, all right, you think they're going to sit on some short throws, some short, safe throws? You think they're not going to be, chomping at the bit to try to take those the other way? So, look, you never know. Guys like Gardner Minshew were thrust into starting roles as a 6th-rounder a few games in. He was fine. Brock Purdy was fine. Aiden O'Connell was fine. It can happen in this league. Yeah, it can happen in this league. Am I expecting it to happen this week? Quite frankly, not really.
Will Shedeur Sanders start a game this year?
I do. I do think he will. And I think they'll get to the point where, at some point you've got a relevancy. Look, I can tell you for the first time in my adult life, the Browns did not sell out their home opener. The waiting list, the vaunted waiting list, it was never Green Bay's waiting list, but it was pretty substantial for a team that had never won. That is done. There is no more waiting list. Good seats available. They're advertising during the network broadcast to buy Browns tickets. So you don't think that somebody like Jimmy Haslam, he may not be Jerry Jones, but he understands marketing. He's from Tennessee. His brother was the governor there. He understands, what your demographics, what the calculus is. Like, he eventually is going to want to sell some tickets, and you're going to have a bunch of people fed up with losing anyway. So I think that sales job is going to become easier towards the end of the year. I'd be stunned if Shedeur Sanders doesn't play, even if it's not deserving. I think he's going to play. He's on the roster. They took him, sold the most jerseys of any rookie in the NFL because we're a smart fan base. We're smart consumers in the NFL. So, yeah, I think we'll see him.
Yeah, it's interesting. You sell tickets by winning, obviously, and apparently that, isn't happen. It hasn't happened, and maybe it won't happen. You also sell it by personalities, man. And to your point, a lot going on in the NFL, a lot going on in the sporting world. And to your point about the national shows, they were talking about Shedeur Sanders, man. Right, wrong, good, or bad.
Dan, the NFL, which supposedly has our attention 24/7, you got backup quarterbacks playing on Monday night, and nobody cared. I'm sure it still did 15 million because it's the NFL, and we've got degenerates all over the place. They'll probably sponsor your program, so God bless them. But what are we watching? We've gotten into the fifth week of the year. We've got how many backup quarterbacks? The AFC North is going to have, 3 of them this week starting. So the product, I mean, people will watch it regardless, but that's how we end up talking about Shedeur Sanders because people don't want to tell the truth, which is the NFL is not all that great right now.
Boy, it's interesting you say that. I've talked to numerous former coaches on different shows, and I've talked to numerous guys that have been in and still are in the NFL, and everybody says the same thing. For as many athletes as there are, for as much preparation, quarterbacks, whatever, the play is not great. Tackling is horrible. A lot of people are pointing to preseason. I don't know. But, boy, what you're saying from people inside the league. Like my fat ass, I just like to watch it. Indiana, I've been saying, is the epicenter of all things football. Indiana University is the greatest team in the history of college football, and Daniel Jones is going to be MVP. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to watch. But, man, the people that know, this is shit what's going on so far.
Look, Philadelphia is your Super Bowl defending champs. Does anybody want to watch Philly right now? You want to see the tush push 30 times a game? You want to see that? Patrick Mahomes finally snapped out of it last week against a very injured Baltimore defense, missing like 7 starters. But even that they're showing more Taylor Swift in the crowd than they are, maybe because they don't need to show Jackson, Mahomes and his TikTok routines, whatever. Yeah. But it's rough around the league. You've got C.J. Stroud, a young, promising QB. They can't protect him. You've got injuries across the board for Justin Herbert's offensive line. They can't protect him. Joe Burrow, his career is going to get cut short because they can't protect him. You catch the theme? That's a tough watch in the NFL when you can't protect these quarterbacks.
I thought this was cool yesterday. I don't know how you guys reacted. The kid playing center field, Chase DeLauder, he gets his first ball and he drops it. And I always thought, I don't know the rules, I don't pretend to, but I always thought you had to be on some kind of roster before you're on the postseason roster. 6th player ever to make his debut in the postseason, Anthony. What the hell? I love it, but kind of weird.
It's one of the most annoying cliches in sports, which is when it comes to baseball, they what do they say? It's baseball. It can only happen. You'd never see that in the NBA Finals, a guy come in and have to shoot a big free throw. It's never happened. In the NFL, okay, David Tyree had an amazing catch. He was on the roster all year, so only in baseball, but that is to the gatekeepers of baseball, America's pastime. They love this element of the sport that none of what happened in the regular season can matter when Clayton Kershaw is on the mound. Like, doesn't matter that he was the best pitcher in baseball, up until that point. And so, look, the kid goes out there and drops it while they show his family in the crowd 17 times. Sean McDonough is building this amazing tapestry of emotions and storylines, and he goes out there in the wind and the sun. It's like 80 degrees, but the elements are getting to the youngster. It makes me feel better. I was in a celebrity softball game once, and I dropped an easy pop-up and was humiliated. Now I'm like, hey, can never make fun of me again. I just saw a professional baseball player do it in a playoff game. So I'm off the hook once and for all. But you know what? The kid actually gunned a dude down later on and then had some nice at-bats, drew a walk when he was down 0-2. That is what this sport is all about. And, he's going to be in the lineup again today against Flaherty. Why not? Why not make some magic, make some history?
Hey, he hit a shot. He got caught, but he hit the ball hard as hell. He, as you said, threw a guy out. All right, what happens today?
Well, This is what I love also about baseball. The Guardians won so much at the end of the year, 18 of 21 at one point, and they came back from a historic 15 and a half games back to win the division. It helped that they had the Tigers in a free fall, and look, they played them 6 times to end the year. They needed all of them, and they got just about all of them. They beat Scooble twice without really hitting the ball out of the infield. Now, they lost to him in the opener of the series, but you won't see Big Bad Scooble again looking like Pedro Martinez. You won't have to worry about him. If it becomes a bullpen game, unfortunately, their closer is no longer with the team because of a gambling investigation that we just don't know anything about. We don't know what he did. We don't know if he's guilty. Just like Terry Rozier and Malik Beasley in the NBA, we just don't know anything. They just take him out because some weird bets are placed. Dakich, place some bets right now on Flaherty and get him out of the game. Like, let's get some crazy props in Vegas and let the FBI investigate. And then they have to take him out. Amazing what we're at in the world of sports. So they also had Cade Smith, their closer now, pitched 50 pitches over the last 2 games. So that's a little concerning. But they're going to run back this lineup yesterday that finally broke through, in the 8th inning against Detroit. So why not? They're at home. Let's go. You're gonna have a much nicer crowd today. They moved the game back 2 hours because we're really going to do 108 starts every day for the Guardians. I get we're not Boston and we're not New York and we're not the Dodgers, but can we move the game back so people don't have to skip work all week? It's not COVID. We're not all working from home. Some people actually have to go to work.
My boy that wears his Depends the playoff game, he calls me from the stadium. He goes, I shouldn't wear the Depends. There's only 25,000 here. The line's not going to be too long. And I didn't realize because on TV, I was doing a show noon to 3, and I'm looking on TV, and you know what? Looked pretty good. He said, yeah, upper deck, nobody there. It's Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was. It's 5 o'clock or 1 o'clock. We didn't know we were going to get it, that kind of thing. But I would expect today, Cleveland, I've been to the World Series there. It's freaking awesome. I've been to games there. It's freaking awesome. I assume today will be jumping, no?
I think it will be. Even Sean McDonough said at the end of the broadcast yesterday that I think they were letting them in the turnstiles. And, yeah, who knows? Could be like a Taylor Swift concert where they're wearing the diapers. And be careful, Dan. Some of your listeners, they might not be vocal about it. They might be into something like that. So, I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
Hey, not my listeners, me. Let me tell you something. As you get to my age, man, you get to my age, bed at 8 o'clock, depends on, shoot, it's a nice night, big boy. Hey, last thing. I'm going to go this way. If I took, which way would you go? There's 4 teams playing today a game 3, Cubs, Padres, Tigers, Cleveland. If you had to make a winning money line parlay, which way you going today? Take a motion. I know you're in Cleveland, blah, blah, blah. Where would you head? 2 teams just to win.
I just need 2 teams to win. That's it?
That's it.
This is easy. This is easy. We're going Yankees and Boston are still playing, right? They're still playing. You got to keep me abreast. Right. You got to keep me abreast, right? And come on, Guardians aren't losing. This is all not going to be for naught. The fact I think the Motor City Kitties were shaken. They were reeling yesterday. They don't want to play baseball anymore. They know this thing is over. Come on, they had that collapse. They got their manager AJ Hinch. They're sitting there playing lefty righty, taking their boppers out of the lineup at the end of the game. What logic is that? Boy, AJ Hinch, he doesn't look as dominant when he doesn't have the trash cans and the Connor Stallion signals, in the clubhouse. Things have changed a little bit.
That's one. Who's the other?
Who else is playing? Who do we got? I'm just dialed into the Guardians. Come on.
Cubs.
Yes,
my
okay.
Cubs.
Yeah.
The only
Cubs
team I care about other than my kids.
Yeah, and the Cubs are still tormenting me from 2016, but I'll pick them. Fine.
Really?
Go with the Cubs.
Yeah, that was like Seinfeld returning the jacket out of spite. That was just a spite pick right there.
It is.
That was like Larry David, spite store.
Take your numbers out of the equation. They don't matter this time of year.
You're killing me. All right, let's see. It's going to be a good day. I love playoff baseball. See, I wish we had baseball in Indy. It'd be so much fun to do a show.
Yeah, I wish you were coaching. I wish you were coaching college basketball. If they're going to give Gottlieb a job, we could have had you here at Cleveland State. We would have had some fun. We could have had you back in Cleveland. It would have been amazing.
Oh, man. My boy Kenny Rhoda used to sit next to me doing MAC games, and I'm MFing everybody, and he's like looking at me. I go, I don't care. I'm trying to win here. Hey, thanks, my man. Thanks for coming on. Tell Kenny hello.
All right, see you, Dan. Thank you.
All right, there he goes. Anthony Lima. I'm telling you, Cleveland's the epicenter today between the miming of Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and the Guardians getting it done. I'm taking the Cubs today. And I'm taking Cleveland. Screw it. I hit a parlay last night. I did. I went to sleep. I was trying to stay up. The Reds had a big first inning or second inning, whatever it was, and I was trying like crazy. Man. But I made a mistake. I took a little melatonin, and next thing you know, but if you want some action today and you want to put a parlay on something, I'll give you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Guardians at minus 130. 132, and the Cubs against former Cubs Yu Darvish. That gives me 3-1. I ain't mad at 3-1. What the hell? Nothing wrong with 3-1. I'll take $100 to win 300. Why would I be mad about that? Oh man, but the Cubs, I just don't feel it with the Cubs. I'm sorry. Cubs bats have gone to hell. Pete Crow Armstrong hasn't hit anything. They're talking about, or they were talking about, giving like $300 million to freaking Kyle Tucker, and Kyle Tucker hasn't hit squat. All right, let's go to the damn awards because I love the intro. Studs of the Week, Major League Baseball, on every network, whether it's Fox, whether it's ESPN, whether it's streaming, it didn't matter. Major League Baseball ratings skyrocketed the last couple of years. Attendance way up, both way up in 2025. I watched this. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, hold on here. People tell me attendance is down, and then I look at a Wednesday night game in Detroit, and they got 30,000. I'm not sure very many sports could play every single day and get those kind of crowds. In fact, I know they can't. So before you tell me that baseball is on its way out, or that baseball is down, or that baseball is too slow, I think the best thing baseball did was put that pitch clock in. I'll tell you this, on Tuesday, we were watching the Tigers take on the Indians, the Guardians, and next thing you know, it was in the fifth inning during our show, and I looked at Jonathan, my producer, and I went, holy cow, this is unbelievable how fast this is going. Really smart move by Rob Bamford with that pitch clock, changed the entire game. The SEC is half of the Associated and Coaches poll. Half. There's 20 teams in the top 20, 10 of which are SEC teams. Man, I'm telling you, I watch the Big Ten. I've watched the Big Ten my entire life. I've watched Big Ten football, basketball, baseball, you name it. I've watched it, and I got to tell you, I don't see very good teams. I just simply don't. I don't see wow, this is an immense talent. Even Illinois used to have immense talent. I watched them, man. All right. Hey, losers of the week, the Mets. Look, I know Nick. Nick threw an F-bomb in there. It's in the writing. It's in the rundown. I'm not going to go with an F-bomb because I don't care enough. But, man, the Mets were sitting there, best record in National League, I believe, in the middle of the summer, and they don't even make the playoffs. And the fold that they did tells me something going on in that locker room. I don't know what it is. But you don't lose as much as the Mets lost, particularly at that time of year. And then immediately Pete Alonso says, I'm out. I am not signing my extension, or I'm not opting into my contract. Something went on there nasty. And that's the biggest issue you got to figure out. Obviously, talent was there. You don't play like 80 games and be 20-some games over 500. But something went on in that clubhouse. Don't know what it is. I'm sure there'll be a book at some point, and then we'll find out what it is. But they stinks. A.J. Brown, we're waiting on it. We think it's coming. A.J. Brown caught a couple balls for negligible yards, and coming off the field, he's bitching even though his team's undefeated. It's a team sport, all the fellas tell me. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. That ball is going to go to A.J. Brown 3 times on the first drive in Philly's next game, just to appease, just so that they can at least squelch the idiocy of reading a book on the sideline, falling asleep on the sideline, yelling at the quarterback on the sideline, whatever on the sideline. It's coming. Full diva mode is coming. Man, this is the craziest story. Alabama A&M, their honeybees were branded the new face of Ozempic by the on-field PA announcer in the game while they're dancing. And to make it even crazier, and this is absolutely nuts, to make it even crazier, my crack staff found out that you got to be 250 pounds to be on the honeybees. I swear that's not true. They tell me it's true. Hey, look, ladies, we want you big. We want you real. We want you out there shaking. What? My ass? My boobs? No, everything. We want full on shake your body maker. And that's what they call. What a crazy, crazy story. The best story of the week is the kid DeLauder. He comes up, one of 6 players in the history of Major League Baseball to have their first game be in the postseason. Now, I think for a long time you had to be on the roster, and I think they relaxed that rule. So it doesn't happen very often. I was there when Carmelo Martinez for the Cubs in his first at-bat hit a home run. That doesn't happen a lot either, but to play your first game in the bigs, in the postseason, and then you're in center field and you drop an easy fly ball, my God, what was that guy thinking? But then he played well. He's a tough kid. I'm rooting for him. I think it is the best story. When we come back, some wild card thoughts, and you're not going to believe the latest in rebranding of an iconic brand in the United States. We come back.
Football's finally.
Cincinnati Reds had a big old lead, and they couldn't hold it. The Cleveland Indians, the game was going along. Nobody could score. The next thing you know, they lost their mind. The Chicago Cubs started a guy out of the bullpen for 1 inning, and he gave up a run. And then they brought in Imanaga, who was one of their longtime starters later on, and he gave up a couple more. Guy starts the first game in the big leagues, only the 6th player ever. Baseball's weird, and that's what makes it really, really fun. Baseball is really weird if you think about it. I've also said this about baseball. Tell me I'm wrong. I will watch Yankees-Red Sox in Yankee Stadium or in Fenway every day, particularly if it's playoffs. I wish this series was 7. I wish this wasn't just 3 in a row. 4 out of 7 should be mandatory when the Yankees play the Red Sox in the playoffs. It should be an automatic. The drama, for whatever the reason, the fans and the director and the producer mesh in Yankee Stadium. It's just perfect. It is truly perfect. Now, going to a game, going to Wrigley Field for any game, but a playoff game is perfect. Why? Unless you're stuck behind a pole, which you certainly can be at Wrigley or Fenway, you got a great seat. You do. The energy is unmatched, and the energy, like most places, starts a few, not miles, but blocks away. In fact, if you're in Chicago and you're eating downtown, the game's at 4, and you're eating downtown at noon, you see all the Cubs stuff, and it's just terrific. So anyway, give me more, give me more, give me more. Tonight, we got football. That's awesome. I'm not mad at it. Good game. Rams, who some people, including Sean Salisbury on my show, feel like are the best team in football. They take on the 49ers, who are reeling from a bad beat. I mean, Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence went out there with Brock Purdy back and beat their ass. But I'll tell you this, man, I'm watching some baseball. I can't wait. All right. I don't know what to – Davey, I got to get your opinion on this. Maxwell House Coffee, for the first time in 133 years, is rebranding. They're changing their name to Maxwell Apartment. And I thought, frankly, this was parody. I thought this was – and then I looked, and I don't know how you all feel about the New York Post, but the New York Post has become, unfortunately for all of us, a truth teller. And the reason they're doing it is because they feel like people aren't buying houses, even though the housing market is far ahead of where it was 103 years ago. 2/3 of Americans, Davey, drink coffee, adults, every day, which can add up pretty quickly. So Maxwell House believes no one should have to go without great tasting coffee, and Maxwell Apartment delivers the same delicious taste at a value that celebrates all of our fans by making smart choices. They're offering a 12-month lease of Maxwell Apartment coffee to keep coffee lovers stocked up. For $39.99, fans can snag 4 27.5-ounce canisters of Maxwell Apartment on Amazon. To put it in perspective, one of those is $13. So you're getting basically buy 4, get 1 free. Or buy 3, get 1 free, Davey. I don't know. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel, Davey? Is this smart? Is this clever? Is this good? Where you at?
I think it's clever in the sense, Dan, we're seeing more and more companies, I think, try to rebrand in a way that's not a smart idea, just in the hopes of the publicity that is going to come their way. When you look at Cracker Barrel, like, they've been at least able to have the bounce back because everyone started talking about them. I'm also at the point, Dan, too, like, with coffee, there's just so many brands out there. Like, I couldn't tell you the last time I heard Maxwell, like Maxwell House. Yeah. So, I mean, like, this is probably the first time I've heard that name in 10 years. So for that sense, I think it's smart to try to do this. And they'll ultimately probably just fall back and stick with the name they've had for 133 years when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and this isn't like we're trying to go woke. This is we're trying to rebrand legit and give you a deal. You know what I mean? Like, they're giving you basically 4 for 3. You get 4 for the price of 3. So it is different. Let's put it that way. It is. And I'll give them credit for that, I think. No?
Yeah, I'll give them credit there, too. I mean, if you want to talk about it, like, I mean, I'm one of these people they're probably trying to appeal to, Dan. I mean, if look at the housing market in Nashville, it's not something I want to get into. I live in an apartment, and I'm happy living in an apartment at the moment whenever I look at the cost of what it would take to buy a house. So I get the generation they're really trying to appeal to at this point because, you know, like, once you get over the age of 50, you could probably even lower that. You're going to have your ways set. And it's like, if you've drank this coffee for so long, you're not going to stop drinking Maxwell House because it's now called Maxwell Apartment.
Yeah, and I do think this, had they tried to go woke or whatever the hell they tried to do, then you're being stupid. You're not paying attention to what's going on with Bud Light or with even Cracker Barrel. I get it, but I just thought that was fascinating. And when I first read it, I thought, this got to be crazy. This got to be a parody. But here's the deal. Maxwell House flows, Maxwell Apartment sounds stupid. Just sounds stupid. I'm not saying it is or isn't. I'm just saying it sounds, I don't know, but I'm old. What the hell do I know?
Dan, have you got, like, it's, I guess my question is, have you got on, like, the energy drink craze? Because I'm at the point, like, I don't even go and buy coffee anymore. Like, I'm getting an energy drink. It tastes better. It's like I don't have to load it up with sugar because I'm going to get like a Celsius, cut the check for 10 calories. And like coffee, just drinking coffee black, like, it sucks. I'll just admit it.
Yeah, my wife turned me on to Celsius like 10 years ago. And I don't drink the Monsters and all those kind of stuff, but she turned me on to Celsius. My wife's very healthy. I think her ex-husband was selling it. I think he was one of the originals in Celsius. And so I've been drinking that stuff. But, you know, my life, here's what I remember about Maxwell House coffee. When I was a kid, and that's 100 years ago, my mom and dad were both teachers. And in the break room, like once every year, you know, they would rotate. You had to bring in the big can of Maxwell House coffee, and that's what they put in, you know, and, you know, everybody contributed. So I remember it being on a table one time, and this big thing, and it was metal. It wasn't plastic. It was a metal can. And I said, hey, Mom, when you guys are done, bring it home. I want to put all my coins in that, you know, whatever. That's what I remember about Maxwell House. But to your point, there's so many effing brands right now. Good for Maxwell House. We're talking about them. They've been a good coffee to people for 130 years. All right. There you go. We're good. I'm good. All right, let's go to Woke-A-Dope. Let's see what's going on in the world of woke and dopes. Here we go. Woke-A-Dope. Here we go. Boy, look at that. Meme them until they cry, then make memes about them crying. Yeah. Don Tzu, the granddaddy, the grandson of Sun Tzu, The Art of War, a book I've read many times. Yeah, that's good advice in the modern world. Meme them. Yeah. Meme them until they cry, Hakeem Jeffries, and then meme them crying, Hakeem Jeffries. Go pull a fire alarm. That was that other guy, Bowman. Clowns. Next. Please let us in so we can be victims of systemic racism and white supremacy. That's right. I always said this. This country is so bad. Why does everybody want to come here? We're lucky. Lucky to be here. Next. On my way to have a minor disagreement with the left, you better load up. That better be Kevlar too. No, that better, hey, look. Don't mess around. Just a minor disagreement. Just a minor one. Hey, last thing. It's really funny. I was a basketball player at Syracuse, and he played in the NBA a little bit. His name is Etan Thomas. I think he changed his name. It was something else. And then he became a philosopher, a reverend, all that kind of happy horse shit. And he got mad at my take. He got mad at my take on that Napanese Collier because I think she's full of shit. I didn't say anything race baiting. I didn't say anything incendiary. I just simply said, here's a woman that didn't stand up for Caitlin Clark. Here's a woman that said nothing while Caitlin Clark was getting her ass beat on a daily, nightly basis. Now, all of a sudden, she gets beat, and everybody in the league is wrong. She rats out conversations from before. Well, how did that get a response? I was called Dan, D-A-K-K-K-I-C-H, by the reverend, the bishop, the priest, the philosopher. It's all such crap. Remember, if you don't agree and bend the knee to everything that an African American says, you are KKK. You must blindly follow, or you are D-A-K-K-K-I-C-H. Look, there's a great grift out there. Jesse Jackson and, of course, Reverend Al has showed us the way, and others are filling the void. Etan Thomas has been there for a while. He's trying. He's written books. The grift is real. But damn, just because you have an agreement, you're KKK. My great-great-grandfather was killed by the KKK, according to my mother and my grandfather. He was buried alive for no reason other than being a Catholic. It's pretty hardy words from Etan Thomas, but would you expect anything else? There's nothing else you would expect. That's where they go. That's where he has to go. He can't do anything other than race bait because there's money in it. Nobody would know Etan Thomas from a bag of clay. But you put on little smart Einstein glasses, grow your hair out, and you too can be a race-baiting philosopher. Bring it, Etan, but be stronger, be better. Come on. I'm used to Bob Knight criticizing me. I'm used to Angry criticizing me. D-A-K-K-K-I-C-H, child's play. We'll see you tomorrow.